Hey guys, this is Nathan and welcome back to HermitPack. So it has been a little while since I've recorded. I have done a lot of stuff off camera and I've got a few things to show you guys. So first off, you'll see we have an elytra hanging here, but we also have an elytra on us. So yes, I took a little time, went exploring around the end. I found a couple of more elytras. I have this one here. I have not done any enchanting on it yet, but we're going to get it with mending and soulbound and all of that stuff too, so that if there's ever a time that we should happen to lose this one, we won't have to worry about having no elytra for a while. Now, I also added infinity to my punch bow, so we don't have to worry about carrying a large amount of arrows. Now, another thing that I have done here, made a coin of fortune. Now, we made the coin of fortune to make the hero's medallion. That was part of it. But the coin of fortune is basically an item magnet. So yeah, that is pretty handy. It allows us to just pull items in. It's really useful down in our mob farm. Now, another thing you'll notice, I don't have a lot of stuff in my inventory here, and that is because I found one of the inventory upgrades. So if we look at that, the inventory upgrade cake, it can be crafted. I found it, but it can be crafted with a cake, a pumpkin pie, an ender chest, cookie, raw salmon, poisonous potato, nether quartz, emerald, and diamond. Now what this does is it gives us this little I button, and it gives us an entire second inventory. It's just as big as our normal inventory, and you can put literally anything you want in there. So we have a few other things that I've found. Found a weapons case, or a bow case, and we got the Ghost. Now this is an incredible bow. It's a rare rarity, and this one is quality perfect. Now, I did enchant it, and it gave us Flame, Power 4, and Unbreaking 3, but unfortunately, we can't add any more enchantments to it. I wanted to put Soulbound on it, and it would not allow me to. So I don't know what we're going to do for sure. I'm going to keep it here for now. Now, another interesting thing about this secondary inventory is we can put all of our arrows over here, and our infinity bows still work, because the arrows are somewhere in our inventory. So that is pretty nifty. We can save ourselves a lot of space, and that's really nice. I think there's a couple other things here. I found an ender staff. Now this thing charges up with ender pearls, and then you can just take it and throw ender pearls around with it. So that's pretty nifty. I think right now we have 140 ender pearls in it. That's pretty nice. Let's see if there's anything else here. We found a fire charm, an antidote charm. We have our hero's medallion here. I found 2 more ender dungeon finders. Not sure what we're going to do with that. Problem is we've got a lot of spawners right over... Whoops. That wasn't what I wanted to do. But we have a lot of spawners right over here. We also found another Enderwing Prime, as well as another Enderwing. Got a lot of other stuff here that we've found. I also found one that we can't really use, and that is the Wing Charm. The problem with this Wing Charm is if we go ahead and send ourselves up into the sky, you can see we just don't really fall. Now, we can take our elytra off, doesn't matter. But we will not fall any faster than this. We move really slowly like we're walking. Now, if we press shift, we can move down faster. But just in general, this is kind of a problem for using the elytra and moving around. So, yeah, I don't really want to be using that, and that's what part of the reason why I have it here in my whatever bag of holding. Now, also, I put Soulbound on my bag of holding and renamed it so that if we should happen to lose it for some reason, it should be easily identified. So another thing that we have here is a charm belt from Reliquary. Now this charm belt, we make charms to go in it, and you can see I have a blaze charm, skeleton charm, zombie, enderman, and creeper. Now these charms are made with these charm fragments, and they use something that is related to the mob. This is the creeper one, uses catalyzing glands, gunpowder, and bones, and they're just all different things. Now every one of these charms uses 6 of the charm fragments, a string, and a leather. Now the charm belt takes 5 of any type of fragment and 3 pieces of leather, and then you can put multiple charms in it. Now you can see the charms take durability damage when you are around the mobs that it is causing to not attack you. And that's what these charms do. They will cause mobs to just basically leave you alone, and there's no big deal. You know, I can walk right up to a creeper when that charm belt is on me, and he'll just sit there and look at me. No big deal. So that's where we're at with that. Now there's a few other things to look at here. First off, you'll notice that my generating station is gone. And that's because I have moved it down into the basement. Now I made a whole bunch of the smaller capacitor banks, and then I started combining those together, and we have 4 of the top tier capacitor banks here. We have a max input and output of 25,000 RF per tick per block. So that means that we can run 100,000 RF a tick out of this set. So I think we have a teleportation wand or something that is not charged. Nope, doesn't look like it. But anyway, we have 300,000 RF off of this thing, and before I can even get to it, it's already charged. So that is pretty cool. We can get a lot of stuff out of there. I set my signal up here for input and output, and then we have a bar here showing us how much we're charged. I have temporarily a couple of our Ender IO machines sitting on top of here, just so that we have them available, and then we have our generators over here. We have a Mark II culinary generator now, and we have our Mark II furnace generator. Now right now the culinary generator is not running, and this is one of those things that I want to work on today. Now another thing that I have done here is to move our refined storage system down into the basement. And just a word of warning, I set up a second controller, brought it over here, and I was going to place it down here without removing the old controller. As soon as I placed down the new controller, the old controller blew up. So don't put multiple controllers on the same network, you will have a problem. Now another thing that I've done here is put multiple import buses on our ender chest, and this allows the items to be pulled out of the ender chest faster and gives us more ability to drop things into our Enderlink bag. Now that is really nice. So we have all of that stuff being done. We have tons of room down here to work with. But what I want to work on today then is getting automated setups for filling this culinary generator with food. Now another thing that I want to do is set this up to where our generators are run in sequence and don't just constantly generate power. I want to run on the culinary generator most of the time, and if the culinary generator starts to run behind, then we want to switch on the furnace generator as well. So one nice thing about the Ender IO capacitor banks, and we'll grab this here. Nope, don't have it there. I guess I must have dropped it back in here. So a comparator can pull a redstone signal off of the capacitor bank. And we're also going to grab some redstone, just some regular redstone wire. And we may actually end up using another comparator and putting this thing in subtraction mode so that, this is always a problem. But we may use that and put it into subtraction mode so that we can get what we need. So we can pull a redstone signal off of this, and you can see that it definitely is reading how much power is in this thing. So I think if we were to place, well, let's just place some redstone dust here and grab a lever. I guess I keep forgetting that we have to do this. A lever. We'll grab a few of them, doesn't really matter. So we can take a lever here and place it right next to this, flip it on, and then set this to subtraction mode, and you can see that the strength of the signal coming in from the side, which is 15, exceeds the strength of the signal here, which seems kind of odd to me, but I don't have Wayla to know what the strength of that signal is. But I can use that signal to do several things here. First off, we can set up the capacitor bank to only allow inputs with or without redstone signals, or to just ignore it totally. So we can change the ability of the capacitor bank to accept power, and then also we can change Ender IO pipes to allow, let me get up here so that we can look at this. We can change these to allow things to happen only on redstone signals. So I believe we can do, I don't remember. Yeah, here we go. We've got, this is for the power. We can set this to only work based on redstone signals. Now, a really nice thing about that is we also have these insulated redstone conduits, and I believe these will interact with the appropriate place within the setup. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pull this around the side, and I think we can put a lever here. Yep, that will pick it up. Now we should be on the same channel as this here. We'll just double check this. Can't really hit that because of the generator. So if we look at our redstone signal, that's this one. We are using a strong signal on the red channel. Actually, now we're using a strong signal on the red channel, and we're going to set this to where it is active without a signal. And that should allow us to extract power from this guy. Now also I upgraded these power cables. Yeah, not all that big of a deal, but I did. So now we're going to take these power cables and run them out the side instead. Oh, that added above and beyond what I already had for power cables. Interesting. So, yeah. Or did it just place it up above? I'm not sure. It's up there. Put it that way. So will this attach to that one? No, it won't. Ooh. That's a little bit of a problem. Well, here, let's go grab some more of these cables, and we'll see if we can get this hooked up here. So, conduit. That's just regular energy conduit. Did I put them in here? Yes, I did. Okay, enhanced energy conduits. So we'll come back down here and hook this up. Now we need to go around the outside so that we're not connecting to any of the other sides of this generator. And now we will take and hook or put in some food. And I suppose we'll just put in a couple of footlongs here. And this will just give us a little bit of power in the system. And you can see right now we're not sucking any of that power out of the system. At least I don't think so. This shouldn't be. Ah, but it is. So I may have to do a little bit of experimenting with this. If we turn this on, it's still running. Well, I may have to do a little experimenting with that. I know that there's a way to change this, and we may have to do it like this. Let me try this. If we put this here, yeah, see, that does not connect into that. Now that does. So how about if we just change this to only input without a signal? Now we see that our input drops to nothing, but we still have power here. So we could actually remove this one here. And we'll go ahead and remove this stuff too, even though I was hoping that would work. But obviously it doesn't. There's going to be a lot of experimentation and a lot of work to figure out how all of these systems work together. But so we are slowly using power out of here. If we flip this off, we'll see that that'll bump up for a bit and then drop back down to the 10 input that maintains it at its current level. So I think what I'm going to do a little bit of experimentation with the redstone here. I'm going to run that redstone out into the solid space behind here and get it to where these generators are running based on the level of the capacitor bank. And this capacitor bank eventually will get bigger too. So, yeah. And I think that we're going to probably line this entire wall eventually with generators. But, so yeah, I'm going to get working on that a little bit, and then I will see you guys in a little bit. So I think I've finally gotten this kind of figured out. So what I did is I took apart a couple of my capacitors here and took the generators out so that I can use the capacitor banks to just sit there and cycle the charge around. So I set one over here to put a draw on our main capacitor bank, and it'll pull it down. Then I put capacitor banks over here to simulate charged generators. So I have back here in the back a bunch of setup, and I have some stuff out here for testing my redstone signals. So what I have here, I have a comparator coming off of the capacitor bank, the main capacitor bank, and then I run that into another comparator. Now a comparator into a comparator just continues the signal on without any signal degradation. So that's kind of nice. So if we have a 15 signal strength coming off of the capacitor bank, we still have a 15 signal strength coming off of this one. Then the next thing that I did is I have a hopper here with a comparator coming off of it pointing into the side of this second comparator, and I've switched this over to subtract mode. Now what I have right now is just one non-stackable item. I'm using golden swords because I have tons of those currently, and so that is giving, well, I'm not sure what the signal strength is on that, but we could actually find out here. If we put a comparator off of the side of this, we can actually see what kind of a signal strength we have here. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we're getting a 3 strength off of the side of this hopper. So 3 strength, and then if we have a 15 for a fully charged capacitor bank coming off of here, it subtracts the 15 and the 3, and we get a 12 strength coming off of it. Well, the way that I have this set up, I then have some insulated redstone cables. This one is coated red, and this one is coated green. So the red, once the redstone signal gets low enough to no longer power this red signal, then we start charging the capacitor bank. Now, if for some reason we're using huge amounts of power and the red power can no longer keep it up and it drops back to here, then the green power will turn on, which is the other one. Now it took me a while to figure this out, but what we have to do is connect the redstone conduit into these and then set in here. We have, well, we don't have the power at the moment, but this is our redstone, so we have our signal color to green, and then we have it set to a strong signal. So that works good. We can see on the red one how this all ties together. So we have the red signal color, strong signal, and then on the power side, we have the red signal color with active without a signal. So you can see here we have a red output here. We have a signal, so we're not pulling any power from this capacitor bank into the main bank. Now, if we want to simulate losing a lot of power, we can do that by simply throwing another sword into the hopper here. So this drops down now to a signal strength of 1, which means there's actually no power going into our redstone, and you can see now we're pulling power out of this bank to try to charge this capacitor. So I think for now I'm going to leave this on just one sword. It should maintain roughly 50% of our charge in this bank, and yeah, we'll just see how that works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these capacitors back into the main capacitor bank here, and I'm going to put the generators back in, and we'll just kind of see how this works out. So it's going to be kind of a trial and error thing as we let the system kind of run out of power, and hopefully everything works good. Now, these also have the ability to be changed to work based on their redstone as well, and we have this one set for charcoal. This one is set for bread currently because, well, I ran out of potatoes, and so we're going to have to try to figure something out for fuel for our culinary generator. That's going to be our next step. But so if we put this up here, we'll see that this will start storing up power. We're not bringing any in from there. Now, my goal here is to not use any torcherinos on these generators because, well, I don't want to generate way too much lag. So you can see there's no torcherinos anywhere around here. Of course, if we put one down and turn it on, we'll see that this generator is going really slow. We'll go ahead and increase this to high speed, and now, yeah, we should be generating faster. Maybe not. Well, something's goofy there. Well, anyway, so we're not going to be messing with the torcherinos on our generators. I know that's something that I had been doing. I want to try to make this as, unmodified a system as possible. You know, I don't want to be modifying my tick rates or anything like that. But so this should maintain now at about 50% RF, and if we get down to, I would think it's probably going to be about 20%, it will finally start using power out of the furnace generator. So I'm going to let that do its thing, and now we need to get a setup for our food source. So as long as we're using bread, and this seems to be a 5-second at 256 RF a tick, we may continue to do that, but we would have to be using the sag mill to make flour out of our wheat, and then make bread using a furnace, and we could probably use our alloy smelter for that because it'll make 3 at a time. But before we do that, we have to set up a wheat farm, so we're going to have to get that somewhere. So I'm going to patch up a little of the holes in the walls here. I'm probably going to leave a door here. But I'm going to figure out where we're going to build that farm, and I'll be back in a little bit then. So I haven't yet decided where we are going to be putting our farm, but I was trying to figure out what we were going to use to operate it, and I checked on harvesters, and we have this harvester from Cyclic, and I don't know for sure how this thing works, so I want to try it out. So it says it's automated gentle harvesting. It takes 3 obsidian, 2 nether quartz, a diamond, 2 emeralds, and a dispenser. So we're going to give this a try. Now, oddly enough, you can make it with string, but we have a lot of bows from our mob farm, so I'm going to go ahead and make it that way. So we'll make a dispenser, and we should have everything else in the system. So there's our harvester. So I'm going to just bring this over here by the servants' quarters and just see what it's like. Now, does it face me when I set it down? I have no idea how this works. It kind of looks like it. So there appears to be no interface for it. I would imagine then we probably need a redstone signal for this thing to operate. So let's go ahead and grab a button. Clear that. Grab a button. And then we will drop this on the side there. Yeah, it looks like when it's... yeah, there it's making smoke. So here, let's go ahead and grab a torcherino and just get this guy to grow. There we go. Nothing. So how does this work? Does it need to be the farmland is above it? I don't know. I don't know for sure how this thing is supposed to work. Well, let's try breaking it and moving it. Maybe if we go this way, maybe that's the output and not the input. I don't know. Let's try it now. Nothing. Well, let me do a little bit of research on this thing, see if I can figure out how it works, and I'll be back in a little bit. So I think I've kind of got this harvester figured out. I went ahead and hollowed out a space underneath this floor, and I put in some elevators here, and we have worms around here to keep this all hydrated and get the crops to grow a little faster. And I put some of those lights from our illumination wand, this one right here in the center. That way we could have lights without having to have blocks for torches, kind of like that. But the way this thing works is it just kind of randomly selects a block within its working radius to harvest, and it sounds like it does like a 16 by 16 area. I'm not sure, but it requires a constant redstone signal, and it does not collect the items. So if we flip this thing on, we'll see the particles come out, and it starts just randomly. There is purple particles that let me know that it's doing something. You can see there I collected the items. Now if I walk over here, I'm picking up more. So yeah, it doesn't collect the items. I'm not too happy about that, but what we can do, we have the item collector from random things. So this item collector, very simple to make: a hopper, some obsidian, and ender pearls, and we have a butterfly here. Go away. Okay, so let's make this. I don't think we have a hopper. Yeah, we do. Okay. So the item collector, let's just see what kind of a range this has. So we can place it on an inventory. It doesn't say. So what we may want to do is just to automatically upgrade this to the advanced item collector. Now this is not that big of a deal: glowstone dust and a redstone torch, as well as our regular item collector. Now this one might have an interface, I don't know. Yes, it does. Okay, so we can change the size of it here, which is great. So what we'll want to do is grab this, as well as a chest to have it dump the items into. So let's grab a chest, and we'll just take a dark oak chest. That'll be fine. So let's head back down to the farm area. And what we're going to do is we're going to place this right in the center. And actually, we probably should go one block lower. Yeah, I think we're going to. And then we'll dig the center out from the top for pulling the items out of here. So we'll put our dark oak chest here. We'll put our advanced item collector there, and then we need a radius coming off of this of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Here, we'll just do it this way: 3, 4, 5. So we need a 6 radius in the X and Z, and the Y radius only needs to be 2, because we shouldn't have to go very far with that. So if we throw these out, I guess my coin is on. Let's turn that off. So we'll throw these out, and yep, we see them being pulled into the chest here. So let's turn this on and just see what happens here. So is it going to be collecting items? Yes, it is. So that is working great. We'll just leave this alone and let it do its thing. I think it's great. This thing doesn't need power or anything. It just needs a constant redstone signal. Pretty cool. So now we'll go up here and we will grab some of our redstone or item conduits, I guess, and we'll run these out to something else. So I'm going to break this, and we can put our item conduit on here. We'll set this to extract. Always active. And that should work just fine. And then we can just run these up, and I think what we're going to end up doing is running it up to the sag mill. So we're going to have to move the sag mill, and I think it's going to probably get placed like right here somewhere so that we can have it in a loaded chunk. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that and get this all finally hooked up here, and then I will be back in a little bit. Well, I pretty well have this system working. I am not using a Torturino down below in the farm itself, and I think that we are keeping up just fine on bread production. Now, I did go out and harvest a whole bunch more charcoal because we were running kind of low on that. So, yeah, we've got 16,600 thereabouts charcoal, but we are not using any charcoal currently. The bread seems to be keeping up right now for our power production, and yeah, it seems to be maintaining just over 50%. I haven't actually seen this thing kick on, but it seems like every time that I look at it, it's hovering right around 52 million RF. So I am hoping that that's where it's going to maintain, and we can adjust the level of that just by adding single stackable items like iron ingots or ender pearls or something like that to that hopper, and we can adjust the amount of redstone signal coming out of it. Now, for the production of the bread, I have this over here. So underneath here, I brought an item conduit up and had it go into the refined storage system, which I added a grid here. That is really helpful. But the refined storage system is exporting seeds, wheat, and flour to this chest. So the wheat can only go into the sag mill. Now the sag mill is set up just to pull directly out of the chest and then push items right back into it. So if wheat gets in the chest, it'll pull into the sag mill, it'll go back into the chest. Now the sag mill produces flour and seeds when it grinds up wheat. So the seeds go back into this chest as well. Now, the way that we are fueling this vanilla furnace is with the seeds. The trouble is we're not making enough seeds to maintain all of the cooking of the flour. So I also have my alloy smelter up here to cook the rest of the flour, and I've set this particular item conduit for a lower priority than the one on top of the furnace. So the furnace will always be full of flour, and any excess will go here into the alloy smelter. Now the alloy smelter, unfortunately, I have to have exporting to the top because I couldn't quite figure out how to do this otherwise. So yeah, that's just one thing that wasn't really thinking about, but it does work. So yeah, that is working quite nicely. I may try to rearrange this just a little bit so that we can get these power conduits a little bit nicer. Don't like having them stacked in front like that. But anyway, we have automated power, and that's good because, yeah, we're out of time. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to give a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any thoughts or tips or tricks or anything else, just leave that down in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!